I am sitting in my living room at 2 in the morning. The laptop screen glows against my face. My hands are shaking. My heart feels like it stopped beating 5 minutes ago. My son wrote about me on Reddit. And what I just read has shattered everything I thought I knew about my family. I believed one person. I destroyed another. And now the truth is staring back at me from this screen. But for you to understand why I am here, I need to tell you from the beginning. From the day I lost my wife. Before I start this painful story, let me know where you are watching from. If you have ever made a terrible mistake with someone you love, hit that like button, so I know I am not alone in this. And do not forget to subscribe, because this story will show you exactly what happens when you trust the wrong person. 5 years ago, I lost my wife Sarah in a car accident. One moment she was driving home from work, and the next moment I got a call that changed everything. I became a single father overnight. My son Ethan was 14 years old then. We only had each other. Those first months were brutal. Neither of us knew how to cook properly. We burned more meals than we ate. But we learned together. We figured it out together. Every Sunday we watched basketball games on the couch. Every night we talked about everything: school, friends, life. The pain of losing Sarah. Ethan became my best friend. He was smart, focus-driven. He loved computers. He spent hours coding, building websites, learning everything he could about computer science. His dream was Stanford. He had the grades for it. He had the passion. I worked extra hours as a mechanical engineer, saving every dollar I could for his college fund. We were a team. We were healing. Slowly, but surely, we were building a new life. 2 years ago, I met Laura through a colleague at work. She was 37, a widow, with a daughter of her own. Her name was Jenna, 16 years old at the time. Laura was gentle, understanding, patient with me. She knew what loss felt like. After a year of dating, we decided to get married. The wedding was small, just close family and friends. Ethan seemed okay with it. He smiled in the photos. Jenna seemed sweet too. She called me Dad from day one. She was polite, helpful, always had a kind word. Laura constantly praised her. My perfect daughter, she would say. Everything seemed like it was falling into place. I thought I was giving Ethan a complete family again. I thought I was doing the right thing. The first month living together felt smooth. Then, small things started happening. Ethan came to me one afternoon and said Jenna had been in his room when he was not home. He said she had gone through his things. I brushed it off. I told him she was probably just curious, trying to get to know her new stepbrother better. Give her some space, I said. Give her time. A week later, his AirPods went missing. He said he saw Jenna wearing a pair that looked exactly like his. But Jenna said she bought her own. I believed her. Why would she lie about something so small? I told Ethan not to accuse people without proof. He looked hurt, but said nothing. Then, money started disappearing from his wallet. $60 he had earned from his part-time job at the grocery store. He confronted Jenna in front of all of us at dinner. She looked shocked, almost tearful. Maybe you spent it and forgot, she said sweetly. Ethan turned red with anger. But Laura jumped in, defending her daughter. I felt torn. I saw my wife upset. I stayed quiet. Later that night, I told Ethan he needed to be more careful with his money. He stared at me like I had slapped him. You do not believe me, he said quietly. I told him I just wanted peace in the house. He walked away without another word. I started noticing the distance growing between us. Ethan stopped talking to me as much. He spent more time in his room. I convinced myself it was normal. Blended families take time to adjust. Everyone says that. One evening, we sat together in the kitchen, just the two of us. Laura and Jenna were upstairs. Ethan looked at me with serious eyes. Dad, something is not right with Jenna. She is not who you think she is. I felt defensive immediately. Ethan, you need to give her a chance. I know this is hard, but Laura and Jenna are family now. He went silent. I could see the disappointment in his face. He stood up, walked to his room, and closed the door harder than necessary. I sat there alone, rubbing my temples. I told myself it would pass. I told myself everything would be fine. Just give it time. March came 6 months after the wedding. I came home from work one evening around 7. The house felt heavy. Wrong. I walked into our bedroom and found Laura crying on the bed. Jenna was sitting next to her, holding her hand, tears streaming down her own face. My stomach dropped. "What happened?" I asked, rushing over. Laura could barely speak through her sobs. Finally, she looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. "Ethan." He touched Jenna inappropriately. The words hit me like a truck. "What? That is impossible." I felt my world tilting. Jenna was shaking, crying harder now. She told me what supposedly happened. Yesterday afternoon, when Laura went to the grocery store, Ethan came into her room. He tried to hug her. He said strange things to her. And when she pulled away, he threatened her. "If you tell anyone, I will say you are lying." That is what Jenna claimed he said. Laura added that Jenna had been too scared to speak up. She was afraid Ethan would hurt her or turn everyone against her. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might explode. My hands started shaking. This could not be real. This could not be my son. But why would Jenna lie about something this serious? What reason could she possibly have? I felt sick, angry, confused, terrified. I went upstairs to Ethan's room. I did not knock. I just opened the door. He was sitting at his desk, doing homework, headphones on. He pulled them off when he saw my face. "What is going on, Dad?" He looked genuinely confused. "Did you touch Jenna?" The question came out harder than I intended. His face went pale. "What? No, Dad. What are you talking about?" I told him what Jenna said, every detail. He stood up so fast his chair fell backward. "Dad, I swear on Mom's grave I did not do anything. This is insane." His voice cracked. He was shaking his head, hands up, like he was trying to physically push the accusation away. He tried to explain. "Yesterday, I was at the library until 8 at night. I was with my friend Derek. We were working on a group project. I have witnesses." But Jenna said it happened at 6 in the evening, 2 hours before he claimed to be at the library. Maybe he was lying about the time. Maybe she was. My head was spinning. I wanted to believe my son. But Laura was downstairs, devastated. Jenna was traumatized. Why would an 18-year-old girl make up something like this? What would she gain? Ethan saw it in my face. The doubt. "You do not believe me." It was not a question. It was a statement. A fact. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. Ethan's eyes filled with tears he refused to let fall. "Get out of my room." His voice was cold, empty. I had never heard him sound like that before. I left and closed the door behind me. I went back downstairs. Laura was still crying. She looked at me with desperate eyes. "We have to do something to protect Jenna. What if he does it again?" She suggested Ethan move out. "Or we call the police." "Police, Laura. He is my son." But she fired back. "And Jenna is my daughter. What if he tries again? What if next time is worse?" I did not sleep that night. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, my mind racing in circles. By morning, I had made my decision. The worst decision of my life. At breakfast, I told Ethan he had to move out. He stared at me across the table, cereal untouched. I also told him I would not be paying for Stanford anymore. He had gotten his acceptance letter 2 months earlier. It was the happiest I had seen him in years. Now I was taking it all away. "You have to figure things out on your own now." My voice sounded cold, even to my own ears. Ethan did not cry. He did not yell. He just looked at me with empty eyes and said quietly, "You are choosing her over me. Over your own son." I forced myself to stay firm. "You brought this on yourself." He stood up slowly. "Mom would be ashamed of you." That broke something in me. I exploded. Do not bring your mother into this. But he was already walking away, heading upstairs to pack. That afternoon, Ethan came down with a backpack and one small suitcase. Everything he owned in the world that mattered fit into those two bags. I stood in the hallway watching him. My chest felt like someone was crushing it. But I said nothing. He walked past me without a word. Did not say goodbye. Just looked at me once. That look will haunt me forever. Then he opened the door and left. The door closed. Laura and Jenna stayed upstairs. They did not come down. I walked to the couch and collapsed. I put my face in my hands. Somewhere deep inside, I felt a voice screaming that I had just made a terrible mistake. But I pushed it down. I told myself I did the right thing. I protected Jenna. I kept my new family safe. 6 months passed. I heard nothing from Ethan. I tried calling. He blocked my number. I sent emails. No response. I asked mutual acquaintances. No one would tell me where he was. It was like he vanished. Life at home continued. Laura and Jenna seemed fine. Happy even. I paid for Jenna to attend community college nearby. I bought her a car for her 18th birthday. She hugged me and called me the best dad ever. But late at night when everyone was asleep, I would sit in my office and look at old photos of Ethan. His elementary school graduation, his first coding competition trophy, the camping trip we took the summer after Sarah died. Laura caught me once. You need to let him go. He made his choice. I nodded, but I could not let go. It was 2 in the morning on a Tuesday. I could not sleep again. I grabbed my laptop and started scrolling through Reddit, something I did when my mind would not shut off. I wandered into a subreddit called Raised by Narcissists. I had never been there before, just clicked randomly. Then I saw a post title that made my blood run cold. My father chose his stepdaughter over me and destroyed my future. Here is what really happened. My hand froze on the mouse. I clicked it. The first few lines made my heart stop. The poster talked about his father remarrying a woman with a daughter, about being falsely accused, about being kicked out and losing his college fund. Every single detail matched my life, matched my family. The account name was Throwaway Ethan 92. Ethan was born in 2005. He was 19 now. This was my son. I read the entire post. Then I read it again. And again. Ethan wrote everything from his perspective. He described how Jenna acted sweet in front of Laura and me, but was completely different when we were not around. He wrote about her stealing his AirPods and his money. He wrote about how she spilled water on his laptop on purpose and called it an accident. He wrote about how she told him to his face, "Your dad loves me more than you. He will believe anything I say." Ethan had tried to tell me. I had not listened. Then came the accusation. Ethan explained he was at the library that entire evening with his friend Derek. They were working on a group project. He had proof, timestamps on a shared Google Doc, photos they took. But I never asked for proof. I just believed Jenna. He wrote about me kicking him out, taking away his Stanford dream. He wrote about how he was now living with Derek's family, working 2 part-time jobs to save money. He wrote about applying to other schools, but knowing he could never afford them without help. And then, he wrote the part that destroyed me. I lost my father. I lost my future. And the worst part, he chose to believe a liar over his own son. But the final line was what broke me completely. I do not hate him. I just wish he had given me a chance to prove my innocence. The comments were full of support. Hundreds of people telling Ethan they believed him, telling him his stepsister sounded like a classic manipulator. One comment said, "You need to get your evidence and confront your father." Ethan replied, "I tried. He does not want to hear from me." I sat there staring at the screen. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the laptop. Everything Ethan wrote made sense. The library, Derek, the way Jenna behaved. I suddenly remembered moments I had ignored. Times Jenna smiled a little too quickly when Ethan looked upset. Times she said things that sounded helpful, but were actually cruel. I had been so blind, so stupid. I chose comfort over truth. I chose the easy answer. I never even asked Ethan for his side with an open mind. I just decided he was guilty. I put my head in my hands and whispered into the empty room. What have I done? I did not go to work the next morning. I called in sick. I needed answers. I needed the truth. I found Derek's phone number through Ethan's old school directory. I called him. He answered cautiously. Hello. This is Renee, Ethan's father. There was a long pause. Then Derek said, What do you want? I asked him about that day. The day Jenna claimed Ethan attacked her. Derek did not hesitate. Yes, sir. Ethan was with me at the library from 4 until 8 that evening. We were working on a group project for history class. I can show you the timestamps on our shared Google Doc if you need proof. We even took photos because we were goofing around. I felt like I was going to be sick. I thanked Derek and told him not to mention this call to Ethan yet. He agreed, though his voice was cold. That afternoon, Laura went to work. Jenna was home alone. I came back early. I found her in the kitchen making a sandwich. We need to talk. She looked up surprised. About what? I kept my voice calm. About what really happened with Ethan. Her face changed. Just for a second. Then, the sweet smile came back. I already told you what happened. I pulled out my phone and showed her the Reddit post. I know the truth now. Her face went pale. She put down the sandwich. She tried to deny it at first. I do not know what you are talking about. That could be anyone. But I told her about Derek, about the timestamps, about the photos, about the Google Doc. I watched her face crumble. She knew she was caught. Finally, she snapped. Fine. I made it up. Are you happy now? Her voice was bitter, angry. Nothing like the sweet girl who called me Dad. Why? I asked. Why would you do that? She laughed. A harsh, ugly sound. Because Ethan was always your favorite. Everything was about Ethan, Ethan's college fund, Ethan's dreams, Ethan's future. What about me? I wanted him gone. And it worked, did it not? You chose me. I felt rage and heartbreak mixing together in my chest. Pack your things. You are moving out. She stared at me in shock. What you cannot do that, yes, I can. You destroyed my son's life. You manipulated me. You lied about something unforgivable. Get out of my house. She started crying, but they were fake tears. I could see it now. I could finally see her clearly. I want you out by tonight. Laura came home that evening. I told her everything. She did not believe me at first. She defended Jenna immediately. But I showed her the evidence. The Reddit post. Derek's confirmation. And then I played her the recording I had made of Jenna's confession. I recorded it on my phone while we talked in the kitchen. Laura's face went through shock denial, and finally horrified acceptance. She started crying. Real tears this time. I did not know. I swear I did not know. But I was past the point of forgiveness. You helped destroy my son. You chose to believe her without question. Just like I did. I told Laura I wanted a divorce. She begged me to reconsider. But I could not. Every time I looked at her, I would see Jenna. I would see what we did to Ethan. 2 weeks later, Laura and Jenna moved out. I started the divorce paperwork. The house felt empty. But it needed to be empty. I needed to clear out the lies before I could even think about fixing what I broke. Finding Ethan was not easy. He had blocked me everywhere. But I called Derek again. I apologized for everything. I asked him where Ethan was living. Derek was hesitant, but finally gave me the address. It is not my place to forgive you, Derek said. That is up to Ethan. I know, I replied. I know. I drove across town to a small apartment complex. My hands were sweating. My heart was racing. I knocked on the door. Ethan opened it. When he saw me, his whole body went rigid. What do you want? His voice was flat, emotionless. "Can we talk? Please." He did not move, just stared at me. I did something I never thought I would do. I dropped to my knees right there in the doorway. "I am sorry. I am so, so sorry. I know I do not deserve your forgiveness, but I need you to know that I know the truth now." I told him everything. How I found his Reddit post. How I called Derek. How I confronted Jenna. How she confessed. How I kicked her out. How I filed for divorce. Ethan stood there listening, his face unreadable. When I finished, he was quiet for a long time. Then, he finally spoke. "You cannot undo what you did, Dad. You chose her over me. When I needed you most, you threw me away." His words cut deeper than any knife. "I know," I said, "and I will regret it for the rest of my life. But I want to make it right. I will pay for your education. Any school you want. I will do whatever it takes to earn back your trust, even if it takes forever." Ethan looked down at me, still on my knees. "You really hurt me. I know. Do you? Because it felt like you did not even care. Like I meant nothing to you." I started crying then. I could not hold it back anymore. "You mean everything to me. You are my son. You are all I have left of your mother. And I failed you. I failed her. I failed everything." Ethan did not hug me, did not pull me up. But after a long silence, he said, "Get up, Dad." I stood on shaking legs. He stepped aside. "Come in. We can talk." It was not forgiveness. Not yet. But it was a start. Ethan did not forgive me right away. I did not expect him to. But we started meeting once a week. Coffee shops, quiet diners, anywhere he felt comfortable. We talked, really talked. For the first time in over a year, I listened. I heard about how scared he had been, how betrayed he felt, how he cried himself to sleep the first month after I kicked him out, how he thought about giving up, how Derek's family saved him. I listened to all of it, and I apologized for all of it. I helped Ethan apply to other universities. I paid all the application fees. I wrote letters to admissions offices explaining the situation, taking full responsibility for what happened. Some schools did not care, but some did. UC Berkeley accepted him with a partial scholarship. It was not Stanford, but it was an incredible school. Ethan's face lit up when he got the acceptance email. It was the first time I had seen him smile in so long. I paid for everything: tuition, housing, books, food, everything he needed. I told him I would keep paying until he finished his degree. He did not have to worry about money ever again. Slowly, over months, our relationship started to heal. It was not the same. It would never be the same. There was a scar now, a permanent mark of my failure. But scars are proof of survival, proof that something broke but did not die. One evening, almost a year after I found his Reddit post, Ethan and I sat in my car outside his apartment. We had just finished dinner. He turned to me and said, "I do not think things will ever be the same, Dad." I nodded. "I know, but I am willing to try. If you are." I looked at him. "My son. My boy who I almost lost forever. I am willing to try." He nodded. "Okay then. That is where we are now. Still healing. Still rebuilding. It is slow. Some days are harder than others. Some days he looks at me, and I can see the hurt still there. But he is trying. And I am trying. And maybe that is enough." I learned the hard way that love is not just about believing someone. It is about giving them the chance to prove themselves. It is about asking questions even when the answers might be painful. I chose comfort over truth. I chose the easy path over the right one. I chose to believe what I wanted to believe instead of investigating what was real. And I almost lost my son forever. If you are a parent, please listen to your children. Really listen. Not just to their words, but to the pain behind them. Not just to what they say, but to what they are trying to tell you. Because sometimes the people who smile the sweetest are the ones hiding the darkest lies. And by the time you realize it, it might be too late. I want to hear from you. Have you ever been in a situation where you believed the wrong person? Have you ever had to rebuild trust after breaking it? Leave a comment below and share your story. If this touched you in any way, please hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel if you want to hear more real stories about family trust and second chances. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone who might be going through something similar. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for not judging me, even though I deserve it. I hope you never make the same mistake I did. But if you do, I hope you find the courage to make it right before it is too late. Take care of yourselves, and take care of the people you love.